Gavin Bauer in right field, and Cruz Schenk on the mound. For Mountain Ridge at the bats, Austin Goodrich, the left fielder, will be the leadoff hitter, followed by Stockton Folks, who will bat second. Jackson Reiser batting third. Easton Gunn, the cleanup hitter. Luke Nelson will bat in the fifth spot, with Remington Edwards following him. Austin Ellis, the designated hitter, batting seventh. Dylan Singleton will bat in the eighth spot. And in the ninth, it'll be Braxton Miller, the shortstop. Skyridge won a nail-biter 1-0 against Pleasant Grove. It was the best pitching duel we've seen so far this week. Tyler Ball was lights out. In that one, he tossed 12 strikeouts, as was Braden Marks, who tossed 13 strikeouts. So the two pitchers combining for 25 strikeouts in that earlier pitching battle between the Skyridge Falcons and Pleasant Grove Vikings. As for Mountain Ridge, they defeated Bingham 10-3. And speaking of Bingham, the loser of this game will go on to take on the Miners in tomorrow's 1:30 matchup. The winner will not be in action until 7 o'clock tomorrow. The winner of this game places themselves advancing in the winner's bracket, and if they're able to get the win after, that would allow them to advance. They just would need one more win against the team, whoever emerged from that losing bracket, to advance to the 6A state championship game. But the winner of this for sure in the Final Four. Goodrich takes a hack, gets nothing on the first delivery from Schenk. Falcons 20-5 on the season. The Sentinels 19-7. Low delivery for ball one. Maybe a late start here. It's 9:35. We're just getting underway, but a good crowd on hands for both the Falcons and Sentinels, who traveled out well to support their squads. 2-1 the count. Goodrich in yesterday's game for the Sentinels against Bingham walked in his first plate appearance, then launched a ball into left field to bring in a run. Struck out in his third plate appearance, and then in his last at-bat, grounded out to second. The count shifts to 2-2 off that strike delivery. Mountain Ridge led by head coach Brock Whitney in his fourth year with the squad since the school's inception. 45 career wins, 37 losses. As for Ryan Roberts, 7 years, 117 wins, and 57 losses. This one figures to be a good one between the two highest seeded teams remaining in our tournament. And right off the bat, we reach full count. Goodrich able to walk over to first. This game starting 2.5 hours after it was originally scheduled due to some weather delays, some lengthy games as well today, like the one we just had that got underway, in which American Fork was able to defeat Syracuse 9-3. That'll be the first game of tomorrow's action, is Syracuse taking on Riverton. A rematch in the first game of bracket play, and the winner of that will play American Fork. Stockton Folks now due up. He takes a strike. Folks yesterday walked in his first plate appearance, then flew out to left field, then brought in 2 runs with a triple. He destroyed into center field. The pickoff attempt unsuccessful, and Folks struck out in his final appearance at the plate. In Region 4 play, Skyridge 13-3. In Region 3 play, the Sentinels 11-4. This one hits slowly. They'll just take the easy out at first. Schenk hops off the bag. Young hops off the mound. Youngberg hopped it off the bag. They swap places and get the out on Folks. That one Folks didn't even want to hit that one, just unintentionally deflected off his bat. It did allow Goodrich to head to second. So 1 out now. Reiser takes a swing and a miss. 0-1 the count. Reiser had a big game yesterday, launched 2 home runs. I forgot. Had 2 home runs in total. He was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat, and that was what was best for Bingham. That was the closest they got to stopping him. In his second at-bat, he brought in 2 runs off a big-time double. He lifted into left field. Currently falls to 0-2 in the count, facing off against Schenk here. And Reiser lifted another into left field, but this one over the fence. It was a 2-run homer. And then he also brought himself in another home run. He rocketed into right field. He's the only player with 2 home runs in our tournament in bracket play so far, and the only player with 2 home runs in a single game. Currently behind the count, 0-2. Schenk looking for his first strikeout. Come after a pickoff attempt as they look to retire Goodrich unsuccessfully. Appreciate all of you for joining us here at Utah Valley University, UCCU Ballpark, home for the 2023 6A Baseball State Championship Tournament. We'll have 4 more games on deck for you tomorrow. The only thing yet to be determined in those is where these 2 teams will be playing. The winner will play Bingham at 1:30. The loser gets to wait. The winner will play at 7. The loser will play at 1:30. Skyridge had a lengthy break. Their game was at 11 o'clock, although Mountain Ridge and Bingham also had a pretty good one because their game was at 1:30. 1-2 the count. Reiser fights and gets back in the count, 2-2 off the high delivery from Schenk. Mentioned Schenk has a tough act to follow with how strong ball was. Falcons went 8 innings, not allowing any runs yesterday. Goodrich at second. Reiser, 2-2 in the count. Reiser has to dock backwards to avoid that one. Full count. The 3rd time we've reached that mark in just 3 batters faced so far. Reiser goes down swinging. The most prolific hitter in bracket play so far strikes out for the first time. Easton Gunn, the catcher, now due up with 2 outs as the Falcons try to leave Goodrich stranded on second. Easton Gunn, the catcher in yesterday's action, flew out to right field in his first plate appearance, but it was an RBI. Grounded out to first, then flew out to center field. His last 2 plate appearances of yesterday's action against the Miners. Strike 1 delivered. Oh, 0-1 the count. One and 1 the count. Schenk outside on the delivery, allowing Gunn to pull in the head in the count, 2-1. A combined 7 teams from Region 3 and 4 advance to bracket play. 2-2 the count. And Schenk is fired up. The atmosphere electric here late. Schenk 1 pitch away from back-to-back strikeouts and getting the Falcons back on the offensive. The top seeds in the tournament looking to hold the Sentinels scoreless. They'll come, if they're able to do so, on another full count delivery. Gunn awaiting the delivery. Schenk looking for back-to-back full count Ks. He's done it. Gunn thought he was going to be walking to first. Instead, he's retired via the strikeout. What a start for Krushenk and the Falcons defense as they leave Goodrich stranded on second. We move into the bottom of the first. Falcons looking to score. Falcons up to bat. The Sentinels taking the field. Their defensive lineup goes as follows. Easton Gunn at the catcher spot. Dylan Singleton at first. Nelson at second. Stockton Foles over on third. Miller at short. Austin Goodrich in left field. Jackson Reiser in center field. And Remington Edwards in right field with Taj Henry on the mound. As for the Falcons offense, Dalton Young will once again be the leadoff hitter. Krushenk will follow him up. Isaac Johansson will then be due up, batting third. Tyler Ball batting cleanup in the fourth spot. Ike Pickle will bat fifth, followed by Ty Evans, Gavin Bauer, and Mason Thompson, and Chase Youngberg round out the order for the Falcons. I mentioned the Falcons offense scoreless in regulation. They needed those extra innings in the eighth to be able to get a win, but they were going against quite the pitcher yesterday, and Brady Marks, who's committed to go to Hawaii. So the Division I pitcher had a lot of success against him yesterday. We'll see what Taj Henry and this Sentinels team, littered with talent, can do here. The Falcons and Sentinels, both dugouts very much into the game. 1-0 the count off the first ball delivery by Henry. Swinging, getting nothing is Young. Count moves to 1-1. Ryan Roberts leads the Falcons, 7 years, 117 wins, 57 career losses. Count now to 1-2. Young in danger of striking out. He did so in his first two plate appearances yesterday, then had a walk in his third at-bat, but then launched a ball into left field for a double. His last at-bat of the game. This one's going to end up in foul territory, so unplayable. 1-2 the count. We sit here at zeros early. It's a late night, but both these squads are amped up and ready to go, with an opportunity to reach the Final Four and 6A play on the line. Young fouls that one into his own, I believe, shin. It was a little difficult for me to see off the angle, but either way, into his lower leg. 1-2 the count still. Skyridge on the season outscored their opponents 222 to 103 in terms of runs scored versus allowed. As for the Sentinels, 237 runs scored, 123 allowed. Young thought about swinging, but pulled back. The appeal down the first base line, and they'll say he did not go. First base umpire took his time making that decision as he thought about it. Young 2-2 in the count. Henry. And it's another one that ends up hitting the foot of Young. I can tell he's in a little bit of pain as he gets out some of his frustration that he's now hit himself twice with a ball he's fouled off. Count remains at 2-2. Henry. And another's fouled off by Young, doing everything he can to protect home plate. Trying to be the first Falcon to reach base. And strike three delivered as Young heads back to the dugout. Big delivery and a big time start for Taj Henry. Krushenk now due up. The pitcher had us off to a strong start of his own on the defensive end. We'll see how it translates to offense here in a moment. Shank allows the slightly outside ball to pass him. The Skyridge team earned the top seed, so they took on Davis, the 16 seed. And they dismantled Davis 11-1 the first game and 7-2 in the second game to enter bracket play. Shank, the pitcher, in yesterday's action where he played center field, struck out in his first plate appearance, reaches off on this one. It was a 2-0 count. Now it'll go to 2-1. But Shank grounded out to second. Made it to first on a fielder's choice. Then rocketed one into right field. And that run into right field by Shank was the walk-off victory, as it scored Young. Dalton Young made it to first in the bottom of the eighth. Then Shank able to drive him in after he ripped a line drive into right field. Shank with the walk-off delivery, trying to have a similar type performance today after fouling that one off. 2-2 in the count. Shank sends one into right field. It sails in the air and will drop before it reaches Edwards out in right field. Shank with the first base hit for the Falcons. Isaac Johansson now due up. Johansson in yesterday's action struck out in his first plate appearance, flew out to left field in the second, and failed to reach base in his third as well. First base hit of the day for either side. Mentioned Skyridge's success against Davis. They got off to a hot start in the bottom of the first inning. They added 4 runs. Then in the bottom of the third, they added 5. And they got off to a hot start once again against Davis, scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the second and 1 in the bottom of the first. Added 2 more in the bottom of the third for the 7-2 victory. They've gotten off to a lot of hot starts overall in the season, but that was not the case in their game against Pleasant Grove, as I mentioned. Vikings actually out-hit them 8-5, but the Falcons scored when they needed it most. 0-1 the count, a runner on first. Count goes to 1-1. A 1-1 delivery. Henry pops it back into foul territory directly behind us. Is the Sentinels team that earned a first-round bye in the 5th seed. They awaited the winner of the Layton-Kearns series. Layton took care of business against Kearns. Mountain Ridge had the highest scoring postseason game we've seen so far, in which they scored 23 runs against the Lancers, then beat them 13-3 in the following game to place themselves against Bingham in yesterday's action. Count moves to 2-2 off the ball on the foul. 2-2 the count, 1 out. Runner on first is Shank. Sometimes you see a pinch runner come on. That's not the case, as the pitchers decided to run the base paths. Henry. Johansson, the high delivery, and they're able to get the tag out. So back-to-back outs. Wow, striking out was Isaac Johansson, and then the put out from behind home plate, able to pick him off successfully on second as Shank is retired. We're on to the second, scoreless after 1 on KSL Sports Rewind. Second inning set to get underway. The first inning came to a close off that great play from Easton Gunn. After Henry delivered the strikeout, Gunn wasn't caught sleeping and rifled it over to Nelson, who came over to cover second. And and they were able to retire, or excuse me, actually I believe it was Miller, the shortstop, who came over, but they were able to retire the bats of the Falcons. And now they're up to bat. Coming up for them is going to be Luke Nelson, the second baseman, Remington Edwards in the hole, and Austin Ellis, the designated hitter. For Edwards on deck, Ellis in the hole. Nelson in yesterday's action walked in his first plate appearance, then flew out into right field. Also had a walk in his third at bat, and then flew out to center field in his final bout in the batter's box of yesterday's action against the Miners. He fouls off the first pitch. Mentioned those 23 runs scored off 15 hits in total by Mountain Ridge. They added just one run in the bottom of the first against Layton. Added 7 in the bottom of the second, and then the explosion, 14 runs in the bottom of the third. It would just take one more run in the top of the fourth to be added to then equal the 5-run mercy rule of 10 or more, 23-7. And they'd reach that same mark in the second game against the Lancers, as they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the first, 6 in the bottom of the fourth, and 4 in the bottom of the fifth. This one fouled off, unplayable. 0-2 the count, no outs. Mountain Ridge, after a strong start yesterday, scoring 2 runs against Bingham in the bottom of the first, and adding 2 more in the bottom of the second. Trying to avoid going scoreless here. Shank delivers the first ball of the at-bat. 1-2 the count. Low delivery on the drop 3. Actually, they will say he just got him out on the tag out, or whatever. Either way, the result the same. Nelson taken care of. It's the 3rd consecutive strikeout for Cruz Shank, who has been sensational to start our nightcap. Remington Edwards now due up. Edwards struck out in his first at-bat of the previous game. Then grounded out into a double play. Then flew out to right field. And then was retired to center field. Then struck out in his final plate appearance. Edwards didn't have the day he'd hoped for yesterday. 0-1 in the count here with 1 out. Making it 1-1 off that ball delivery. The Sentinels scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first, 2 in the bottom of the second, 3 in the bottom of the fifth, and the insurance added in the fifth. 1 more. Bingham would score 2 runs in the top of the fourth and 1 in the top of the fifth with a 10-3 differential. 9 hits to 7. Sentinels out hit the Miners. As I mentioned too, our tournament's been filled with upsets. So Skyridge, the top seed, still left standing, but they are the only one in the top 4, making the Sentinels the other highest remaining seed. 1-2 the count. Shank gets another to bite. Edwards goes down swinging, the 4th consecutive strikeout. One of the largest streaks we've seen. In fact, only followed up by what we saw from Marks so far yesterday, as Marks was able to retire the first 6 batters in the order for the Falcons in his incredible performance. 2 outs now. Shank looking to make it 5 consecutive strikeouts, as he now faces off against Austin Ellis, the designated hitter yesterday. Had a walk in his first at-bat, then lifted with double into left field in his second plate appearance. Struck out in the third, and then flew out to right field in the final at-bat of his first game at bracket play. 1-0 the count here. The count. I mentioned Skyridge, the top seed remaining, and the only one in the top 4, as this ball was fair, and it squeezes just down the third base line. Ellis thought about trying to stretch it into a double, but he's going to quickly head back to first. But Ellis fired up as he's got the first big hit for Mountain Ridge. 2 outs in the inning, but Ellis on base. After that one, just squeezed past third base and stayed in bounds. Singleton now due up. Singleton in yesterday's action. Grounded out in his first plate appearance. Then brought in a run on a shallow hit in the left field in his second at-bat. Then walked safely in his third. So 2 plate appearances in 3 at-bats yesterday. Looking to keep the inning alive for the Sentinels. The bunt unsuccessful. The 2-seeded Cyphers Pirates were taken out of the tournament by Westlake. In back-to-back 4-3 losses, the Pirates fell to the Thunder. Then we had Fremont taken out by Syracuse. Fremont won the first game 9-0, but Syracuse would win the second 2-1 and then capture the third 6-2 to vanquish the Silver Wolves. And the 4th-seeded Copper Hills Grizzly taken out by Region 3 foe, the Bingham Miners, in back-to-back 5-3 bouts, which Bingham was victorious. 1-2 the difference here. Ellis on first. First base hit of the day given up by Shank. Broke his streak of 4 consecutive strikeouts, but he's ahead in the count here and gets his 5th right on cue. Singleton goes down swinging, and Shank continues to be strong on the mound. We'll see if the Falcons have the same success on the offensive attack when we return to UCCU Ballpark. Bottom of the second set to get underway, and one of the state's most prolific hitters, Tyler Ball, set to get underway. Talked about the success he had on the mound yesterday with those 12 strikeouts, having 10 of them in 4 innings too. Ball wisely lets the first ball pass him by. Ball in the batter's box yesterday. Didn't have quite the normal success with 2 strikeouts, but did crush one into center field. Goes to 1-1 in the count after the swing and miss there. Ball swings and misses another. Count now 1-2. And Ball fouls it off. Looking to stay alive in the count here early. Henry forces Ball to foul, yet another off. Ball swapping out some equipment real quick before we're set to resume action. One and two the count. Henry in search of his 2nd consecutive strikeout and his 3rd overall in the game. High delivery that time will bring the count to 2-2. Just over 30 minutes into this one. It's still knotted at 0. Full count reached after back-to-back balls delivered to Tyler Ball. And Ball booms it in the left field. Deep. Sentinels going back on it, and it ends up hitting the wall. So Tyler Ball with the booming double for Skyridge. Big time blast from Ball. Gives the Falcons some offensive momentum. No outs and a runner on second. Ike Pickle now due up. In the action yesterday versus Pleasant Grove, Pickle struck out in his first 2 appearances and then was able to walk in his 3rd at-bat. See another hit here. This one soars and it'll drop into shallow right field. They're holding Ball up at third, As Pickle and Ball with back-to-back base hits. Bats are hot for the Falcons. Ty Evans now due up. Pickle with his first hit of the tournament, and Ball with his second double, a bracket play. Should say Pickle's first hit, a bracket play so far. Ty Evans now due up. Evans struck out in his first plate appearance. Failed to reach base in his second. In his third at-bat, did land on first, but he rocketed a line drive into right field. 2 runners on base on first and third. You see Gunn make his way up to the mound, talk things over. They're trying not to load the bases with no outs. Gavin Bauer on deck. (2-0) the count. Evans waiting for an opportunity to make a play. It took him a while in yesterday's game. A chance to do so here a lot earlier. Instead, he takes the first strike on that delivery. It's Taj Henry able to find his way back into the zone. Ball at third. Pickle on first. Evans fouls it off. Back to the right. 2-2 the count. In the bottom of the second here. Evans gets another outside delivery through. Full count now. Sentinels in danger of loading up the bases. Evans looking to reach first or bring in the first run of the day with Ball awaiting an opportunity as he's chilling on third at the moment. Pickle to first. Henry checks behind. The full count pitch. Winds, delivers. Evans makes contact. Sails into center field. It's brought in. They're going to send Ball home. The throw goes far. It's going to be close. And Ball just able to beat it. The speedy slide brings in the first run of the day on the sacrifice fly from Evans. Riser out in center field, closed on it quickly, got the out. And it was a great throw, but just couldn't beat the speed of Ball. It was on target. So the first run of the day comes in via Tyler Ball. Skyridge up to 3 hits now in this one. 1 out. 1-0 advantage for the Falcons early. In that action, Pickle was forced to stay on first. Bauer now due up. Bauer in yesterday's actions, 2 strikeouts, but he's got a base hit here as he rips one into right field. Trying to step it into a double is Bauer. Bauer's caught up in a pickle. Bauer buying some time. No one's came to cover up second. They're able to get the tag out at home and sliding safely across home. Able to get the tag out at third. Sliding safely across home is Pickle. Calamity ensuing at UCCU Ballpark, and it's a 2-0 Falcons advantage. So Bauer crushed that one into right field. Tried to stretch it into a double. Evans used the wheels. He dove into third, thought he was going to need to. But the throw from Remington Edwards, who was out in right field, was actually over to second. And he got it over in time to Nelson. I believe it was actually Miller in that scenario based on the shift, but either way, they get it over there. And then Evans, or it's Bauer actually, who was retired, of course. But then it was Evans who realized he needed to turn back. He even tried to signal. Bauer even tried to single the Pickle to go home, but Pickle was still getting up from sliding. He was eventually able to do so. Then there was the chase down that ensued with Singleton giving chase. There was no one over to cover second just because of the defensive alignment and the shifting that ensued. 1-1 the count right now, facing Thompson, the designated hitter who's currently up. And because no one was there, Singleton had to chase him down himself, and that allowed the time necessary for Pickle to come home. So 2-0 the advantage, 1-2 the count. Well, actually just 1-1, I'll check that. So 1-1 the count here. Facing Thompson, the DH. Thompson drills one into right field, and it is just gonna end up in foul territory. The designated hitter looking to keep what's been an extremely productive inning going. No runners on base currently. 1-2 the count. And retired is Thompson. He goes down, but not before the Falcons were able to add 2 runs. They lead it 2-0 in the bottom of the second. The third inning underway. Up next on KSL Sports Rewind. Third inning action about to get underway here at UCCU Ballpark. Normally home to Utah Valley University, but this week home to the 6A State Baseball Championship Tournament. BYU hosting the 5A tournament. If you're interested in any of that action, you can find it all on KSL Sports Rewind. Dusty Lister has you covered there. Also covering the state lacrosse championships and soccer championships this week. All available to be streamed on KSL Sports Rewind. Braxton Miller due up for the Sentinels, the last batter in the order. This is the first time we've seen Miller bat this week. Miller facing off against Shank. This one crushed into left field. Oh, it's gone. What a response. Mountain Ridge with the home run. I believe it was a home run. Mountain Ridge thinks it was a home run, and they'll actually be sent back. It was not a home run, so I apologize for jumping the gun. Our home plate umpire is not happy that they jumped out there. It is hard to see the balls just because it's gotten dark here late. I thought for sure that was out of here. It sounded great. Even, part of the reason I thought it was gone is Tyler Ball in left field. He gave up on it. He just kind of stopped, but it ends up, I think at the moment there's kind of a discussion going on. I think at the and they are going to say it was a home run. So my eyes didn't fail me, as it will officially be a home run, and the Sentinels were set back originally by our home plate umpire. They can now return out of the dugout, fired up, as it's back to a 1-run game. The huge home run shot from the shortstop, Braxton Miller, a game changer. For Miller, that was his second home run of the season and came at a great time there. They're going to come together and talk about this one. From my vantage point, what I saw, which as I said, I originally thought it was a home run, was ruled not a home run. I thought it hit over the Burr ball. I mean, Ball did left field. He gave up on it, like I said. So I thought it landed over the Burr and then somehow bounced back. All the kids are trying to argue about it right now over up there, saying they got the better angle on it to see the call. So lots of discussion going on about whether it ended up getting stuck right behind that yellow fence you see out in the outfield, got over the fence, or ended up right in front of it, which I do believe that would be a ground rule double given this scenario. Or either way, at the moment it's a home run. We're waiting on the confirmation. It's been a great game so far. It's our 8th game of bracket play. Our umpires coming together to discuss it. At the moment, Miller with the homer. I believe none of them had a great angle on it. Just like when I tried to call it a moment ago, I thought it was a homer. They're discussing if they think it was. Originally, you could see they kind of thought it was that ground rule double at first. The longer these discussions happen, sometimes you see a change happen. As I said, I still feel like it was a home run. I'm going to stick with my gut in that regard. We're waiting for the official call, so all we can do is speculate at the moment in regards to what the decision will be. But regardless, it'll be Goodrich, the leadoff hitter, due up next for Mountain Ridge, trying to keep things going. Shank had been so strong before that. He had 5 strikeouts through the first 8 batters faced. And I believe at the moment the call is going to stand, the Mountain Ridge faithful felt like they saw it get stuck out there, and they do not feel like it was a home run at the moment. Miller with the homer at the moment, and discussion ensuing. You see Coach Whitney discussing things with our umpires. So he feels like it got stuck. This is where it's just kind of the rules of the ballpark and how it follows. I said, I thought it got over the fence. Ball thought it was gone. Then they scrambled to pick it up eventually, because maybe it did just land in front of. It's got to be one of the longest discussions we've had so far in the last few days as they continue to talk things over and force me to continue to fill time basically as we wait for action to resume any second. Hopefully any second at this rate. Falcons already up to 4 hits in this one. Mountain Ridge just blasted their second and scored their first run of the game. I believe the call is going to stand, I'll say now, because it doesn't look like that Coach Whitney is going to get his way. As they will actually, wow, so they do change the call and they force Miller to go back to second. What a tough break for the Sentinels. So what will look to be a home run becomes a ground rule double, as they'll say it didn't completely clear the fence, instead landed right between it for a moment and then ended up falling down. Sentinels fans fired up, and not in a good way. As for the Skyridge faithful, they're happy about the decision. They were pretty adamant about it, that had gotten stuck. So unfortunately, take the run off the board for the Mountain Ridge Sentinels. 2-0 the difference here. 1-1 the count. Goodrich up to bat for the second time. He walked the last time we saw him, reaching full count in his bout with Shank. Strike 2 delivered. No outs in the inning. This long discussion we saw play out there. But it all leads to Miller, located on second at the moment. This one's fouled off, unplayable. Goodrich on the season, 11 runs brought in, 9 doubles, 1 triple, and a homer in 26 games on the season. 1-2 in the count currently, no outs in the inning. Goodrich, Folks, and Reiser, the top of the order, all due up for Mountain Ridge. The tying run at home plate. The run to pull within 1. Was a homer for a moment, then not a homer, then a homer again, then officially not a homer. That being Miller, seated on second. And the low delivery as that ball squeezed away. And it really got away, actually, as Miller able to easily head over to third. Count now to 2-2. Shank so sharp through the first couple innings. Now looking to relocate the magic he had. Two and two the count. Outside delivery brings us to full count once again. It's the second straight time that Goodrich has gotten a full count in just 2 at-bats. That's a high delivery. Goodrich walks to first. The second time he's been able to reach base via the walk today. Still no outs in the inning. That'll bring up Stockton Folks. Folks on the season, 16 runs brought in, 5 doubles, and a triple. The tying run now on second. Folks. So you see going for second, and they're going to make the throw. They get the tag out successfully. And Goodrich decided not to go for it. At the moment, it appears like we're going to see more discussion. It's Brock Whitney not pleased with that call. Thought he saw something differently. But either way, Goodrich caught stealing. He's retired. Sometimes you try to do that in order to draw the throw, and then you try to bring in your runner on third, Miller, but Miller did not end up moving. 0-1 the count, runner on base, 1 out now in the inning. Count shifts to 1-1. Folks, the last time we saw him, grounded out to first. It did advance Goodrich to second. Johansson took a moment to jog out from behind home plate, talk things over with Shank. One and one the count. Folks takes a big hack, gets nothing. He now trails in the count. The Sentinels originally thought they had a home run. Now in danger of getting their second out here with the count at 1-2. Folks hits a line drive that bounces off the turf, and they're able to get it over to first in time in order to retire Folks, but it's a sacrifice single as it ends up bringing in Miller. Took a little longer than they had expected, but either way, they now trail by just 1. Miller fielded cleanly over on short. Now 2 outs in the inning. 2-1 the score. Jackson Reiser due up. Mentioned Reiser blasting those home runs yesterday. Struck out in his first appearance in this game at 2 home plates. Reiser lifts this one straight up in the air. Called for. And a miscommunication for a moment. That lands it fair. Reiser has to dive in safely to second, and he just makes it. Wow! Some good luck in the favor of Mountain Ridge that time. Total confusion. You could kind of see Shank was originally calling for it, then Pickle called for it. Then they both looked at each other, which is never a good sign when you're going to have a ball dropping in. It just ends up in fair territory in the third base area, and Reiser able to make it safely to base off the miscue. It's originally going to be a single, but using his speed, he stretched it into a double. Reiser's brought in 27 runs on the season. It's by far the most on the team. Wasn't able to add any there. Also, it's 5 home runs, by far the most of any Sentinel. He's got 5 doubles. And a 2-2 overall. And once again, Reiser making plays, keeping the inning alive. And now the tying run on second with Easton Gunn due up in a second. See a discussion going on the mound now. Skyridge. It's been hit a couple times now. 3 overall, with most of those coming, 2 of those I should say, coming in the top of the third. 2-1 the score, 2 outs. The Falcons just 1 out away from capturing it. Shank and Pickle's miscue could prove costly if they aren't able to get an out here. Bring up Easton Gunn for the second time today. Gunn on the season, 14 runs brought in, 2 doubles, and a homer. Homering here would give him the 3-2 lead. He's just trying to reach base and bring in a run for his team. Gunn allows the low delivery to slide by for ball 1. One-0 the count. The count. Gunn takes a second to step off and reset. It's fouled off into the dirt. The first strike of the at-bat. Gunn struck out the last time we saw him. Reiser at second. You know, he's got some speed. That would have been a single for pretty much everyone else, as he was nearly thrown out after Pickle was able to pick it up and throw it over to Evans, who came over offset from second to cover the base pad. Count even to 2 apiece. Off the swing and miss from Gunn. 5 strikeouts for Cruz. Shank already looking for number 6 and trying to get the Skyridge out of the top of the third. Gunn calls for a late time last second. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and Reiser on second with the delivery coming from Shank momentarily. Gunn hits a slow roller, fielded by Shank. He runs with him for a moment before getting it over with the underhand toss over to Youngberg on first to end the inning, but not before the Sentinels were able to pull within 1 run. Skyridge looking to extend the lead. Bottom of the third, set to get underway. Skyridge down to their last hitter in the order, and Chase Youngberg. Youngberg in action in yesterday's game. Rocketed one into right field for a base hit, then grounded out to first. And then was retired on the strikeout. One-0 the count for Youngberg. Henry, line drive, takes a bounce. They have to wait for a moment. As for a second, it looked like Singleton had gotten off the base pads as he shifted off, but was able to get back on top of it just in time for the first out of the bottom of the third. So Youngberg retired. Will bring up Dalton Young for the second time. He struck out the last time we saw him. For Young on the season, 18 runs brought in, 10 doubles, 3 triples, and 3 home runs. Falls behind the count, 0-1. Young chops it just into foul territory. So the count now 0-2. Sentinels looking to make quick work of the Falcons and return to the batter's box themselves. Henry has been exceptional here. He's 6-1 overall in the season. Makes sense why they turn to him to try to beat the top team in Region 6. Fly ball hangs in the air for seemingly forever, but eventually Jackson Reiser easily gets under it to retire Young for the second time today. Cruz Shank now due up. Last time we saw him, he reached base after smashing one into right field. Shank has gotten it done for the Falcons here early on the mound. Shank himself 5-1 on the mound. Both these pitchers with just 1 loss on the season. One of them more than likely going to be credited with 2, unless we have a situation where a lead is surrendered after one of them is taken out of the game. 28 runs brought in overall. 6 doubles, 3 triples, no home runs for Shank. He shut off the speed a few times in the field. 2 outs in the inning, 1-1 the count. Shank looking to be the first Falcon to reach base in his first 2 at-bats. Ball 2 delivered. The Falcons faithful in disbelief on the decision from our home plate umpire. Swinging and missing is Shank. Count to 2-2. Henry, 1 delivery away from his 4th K and getting his team out of the 3rd inning. Shank chops it high. Closing on it is Henry. It hangs in the air for a while, but Henry's still able to make a play on it and get it over to Singleton on first to get Mountain Ridge out of it. 3 innings in the book A 2-1 advantage for the Falcons over the Sentinels. Off KSL Sports Rewind.
No hits, no errors, and no runners.
Okay.
You ain't on my level, then shoot. I can't die. 같은 질투 떠너비 올라와. 공기도 달라.
Fourth inning action set to begin at UCCU Ballpark. It'll be Nelson, Edwards, and Ellis all due up to bat as the Sentinels still trail the Falcons by 1. The first and the 5th seed, the 2 highest remaining seeds in our tournament. This one's fouled back into the net. Last time we saw Nelson, he struck out. Nelson, 25 runs brought in, by far the most of anyone on the Sentinels. 6 doubles, 3 triples, and 2 home runs. He's currently 1-1 in the count. Two-1 the count after the outside delivery by Cruz Shank. Shank really strong in the first 2 innings. Nearly gave up a home run, and that kind of controversial no call we saw as it ended up being ruled a ground rule double. Nelson lifts one into foul territory, so the count to 2-2. Just over an hour played now, and 3 innings into this one. It's been a really well-played game by both sides. The 2 have combined for 7 hits, both pitchers being Shank and Henry have been sharp early. They've combined for over 10 strikeouts. Nelson reaches full count after allowing the high delivery through. Nelson struck out in his first plate appearance. He was part of a string of 4 straight strikeouts acquired by Shank. This one ripped into foul territory. Full count. Nelson looking to avoid striking out for a 2nd consecutive time and land on base. And he's able to do it, taking the walk. It's the 4th walk, the 3rd walk of the day allowed by Shank so far.
Number 34, Remington Edwards.
So that'll bring up Remington Edwards. Edwards, last time we saw him, he also struck out. Edwards on the season, 21 runs brought in, 6 doubles, 1 triple, and 2 home runs. Joe's bunt goes right down the first base line. It's fielded cleanly, and the tag out successful by Youngberg as he takes care of Edwards as soon as he steps up off the bunt. But it did advance Nelson over to 2nd in the process. Austin Ellis now due up. He hit one into left field the last time we saw him. Runner on 2nd now, 1 out. That low delivery squeezed away from Johansson for a moment, but he was able to trap it. Ellis on the season, 25 runs brought in. So I misspoke earlier. I thought Nelson's 25 runs brought in were the most, but he's actually tied with Ellis. 11 doubles, 0 triples, and a home run. 2-0 the count off another ball delivery, the 2nd consecutive one. Ellis resets with Nelson on 2nd. Shank winds, delivers. Dead center for strike 1. A reminder of what's at stake. The winner moves into the Final 4, a position that currently American Fork captured, and they're the only ones to have so far. Pickoff attempt unsuccessful to 2nd. As quickly diving back to safely was Nelson. And the loser in this one goes on to take on Bingham at 1:30 tomorrow. So the winner advances, the loser down to their final hope of the season. 2-1 the count. Outside delivery, but once again doing a good job trapping it is Johansson. That's 3 straight balls delivered. Both pitchers have been sharp early on. Ellis looking to walk to first. Johansson looking to get back in the count. And that's an outside delivery. Ellis fired up as he's heading over to first. Second walk allowed of the inning. And that'll bring up Dylan Singleton for the second time. Last time we saw him, he struck out. He was the last strikeout had by Shank. Just trying to find his mojo once again. So we are going to see the Falcons take a meeting. No one warming up for Skyridge. They'll step off the mound to take the meeting. As they're trying to sort things out here defensively. They have the 1 out in the inning, a runner on second. The count resets, also a runner on first with Ellis making his way over there. Singleton due up in a second. Singleton on the season. 5 runs brought in, 1 double. And Miller on deck. You know Miller's eager to get up to bat again after having what he feels a home run taken away from him. Sentinels bench was irate about the call. Or excuse me, dugout was irate about the call. The lengthy mound meeting about to come to a close. Shank going to stay on for Skyridge. Falcons show sharp defensively so far, have given up 3 hits, but just the 1 run in the top of the third. 2 runners on, 1 out here. Singleton up now. Singleton drove in a run yesterday for the Sentinels as part of their 10-3 victory they achieved over Bingham. No doubt eager to reach base and potentially bring in some runs here. Check second, delivers. Low ball 1. One-0 the count. Singleton takes a hack, gets nothing. Mentioned Miller on deck, and then it'll be back to the top of the order with Austin Goodrich waiting. The 1-1 delivery. Shank finds the zone to pull ahead in the count. Off back-to-back strike deliveries. Shank looking for his first K in his last 9 batters faced. Singleton able to even the count at 2 after letting the outside pitch pass. A reminder, we'll be back up here tomorrow with 4 games. We'll kick it off with Syracuse and Riverton. Our first elimination game, and our second will feature a Bingham and the loser of this contest. 2-2 the count. Singleton goes down swinging. 2 outs now in the inning. Still 2 runners on base for the Sentinels. Singleton frustrated as he heads back to the dugout after striking out for the second time here. So Braxton Miller absolutely launched a ball into left field the last time we saw him. Ended up getting caught in the fence. We thought it was a home run. overturned to a ground rule double. He was brought in shortly later by Stockton Folks, who's now in the hole with Miller up. Austin Goodrich in the top of the order on deck. If the Sentinels are able to keep the top of the fourth going. Miller waits the delivery from Schenk. Outside delivery, near pickoff attempt. It squeezed just off the glove of Youngberg, who tried to close on it quickly. But Ellis safe on first. (1-0) the count. Miller allows another low ball to pass. Rushek trying to regain his composure as rain begins to come down, and coming down pretty heavily now. The wind whipping in the outfield. We had a couple of rain delays earlier. Swing and a miss there by Miller. Count goes to 2-1. The elements pouring in with 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. Miller pulls ahead in the count even further at 3-1 now. Sheck in danger of loading the bases with 2 outs, and the leadoff hitter for the Sentinels in Goodrich on deck. Miller allows the strike through, full count delivery. Due up. It's a showdown between Miller and Sheck in the rain. Miller got the better of him last time, although it could have been worse, as it was a ground rule double and not a homer. Who will come out on top this time? Schenk, the delivery. Miller on the drop 3. It's collected. They'll take a second just to make sure the throw is accurate, and the throw squeezes through. The Sentinels able to score on the drop 3 strikeout. Wow! What a turn of events. Full count, Miller goes down swinging, but it was dropped. Johansson took a second to gather it, and by the time he made the throw over to first, it just squeezed through the glove of Youngberg. So complete chaos has led to a tie game here. And amidst all that too, Ellis able to make it over to third as he was flying on the contact. So that'll bring up Goodrich, who's walked in his 2 previous plate appearances. Miller 12 runs brought in on the season, able to add 1 there. Oh, 0-1 the count. This one's fouled off to make it 0-2. Schenk trying to retire Goodrich for the first time today. Sentinels looking to take the lead. They got Ellis on third. Another launched into foul territory. 0-2 the count. Miller at first. Goodrich trying to bring in a run and keep the inning alive. He thought he had strike 3. It kind of started to make his way off the mound a little bit, but instead it was ball 2 just delivered to the outside. Or excuse me, 1-2. Because what we had was originally correct, but the scoreboard in the outfield was changed after a moment. Now it's 2-2 on the high delivery. So people in the scoreboard just one ahead of us, basically. No one was coming up. Top of the fourth could be coming to a close on this delivery, or the Sentinels could be taking a lead, or loading the bases. A lot of options for Goodrich. He fouls another off as it continues to pour here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 runners on base. And a grounder that's fielded cleanly at second. The throw is secure as Youngberg steps on first after Evans got it over to him. So Goodrich is retired. He leaves 2 stranded on base, but the Sentinels scored runs in the top of the 3rd and 1 right there in the top of the 4th to tie this one at 2. Going into the bottom of the 4th at CCU Ballpark. Falcons and Sentinels now tied up. Isaac Johansson due up to bat for the 2nd time for the Falcons. Johansson, 12 runs brought in on the season. 6 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run. Johansson behind in the count, 1-0, fouls this one back to even it up at 1-1. Skyridge already scored more runs back in the bottom of the 2nd than they had in their previous game against Pleasant Grove. So they only scored 1 in extra innings and none in regulation. Another high delivery that time from Henry. I believe the rain has stopped, as you see people making their way back down to their seats. It's been raining off and on at UCCU Ballpark all week, as it has all across Utah. Johansson goes to 2-2 off the hack that time. Falcons eager to retake the lead. Trailing 1-0 in the top of the 4th. Henry has had the hot hand on the mound. And on cue, gets another strikeout. His 4th of the game, as Tyler Ball is now due up. Last time we saw Ball, he launched one over to the left wall. And able to turn it into a double using the speed. Ball, 38 runs brought in, by far the most of anyone remaining in bracket play. 7 doubles, 4 triples, and 10 home runs. One-0 the count. 1-1 the count. Ball. That's the first pitch. Or excuse me, that's another pitch, being a ball, pass through. Ball looking to break the tie and reach base. Fouls it back to even the count, had 2 apiece. Henry wasting no time delivering pitches. He's looking to get strikeouts for the first time in back-to-back batters faced, and it would be his 5th strikeout of the day. Two the count. Ball. Strike 3. He goes down looking. 5 Ks on the day now for Henry. And Ike Pickle due up. Inside delivery for ball 1. One and one the count. 2 outs now in the inning in our tie game. Pickle crushed one in the shallow center field the last time we saw him. Count goes to 2-1 now. Pickle, 29 runs brought in on the season, 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 homers. And it's now 2-2 in the count. Taj Henry looking for 3 straight strikeouts to close out the bottom of the 4th. And he's done it. Henry with a heck of a performance so far. Taking care of business against the Falcons. Mountain Ridge returns to the batter's box, looking to break the 2-2 tie we currently hold. And we return on KSL Sports. Mountain Ridge has scored a run in 2 consecutive innings. Doing so here would allow them to take their first lead of the ball game. Stockton Folks, Jackson Reiser, and Easton Gunn all due up to face off against Rushek. Delivery a little too low. Ball 1 that time. Folks in his first plate appearance grounded out to first, but did advance Goodrich to second. And in his second plate appearance, brought in a run as he grounded out to short on the sacrifice single. That was back in the bottom of the second. The Falcons that was back in the third. The Sentinels looking to continue to score some runs here. 2-0 the differential. This one ripped into right field. No one there at a moment, but quickly able to close and cover it up is Gavin Bauer to retire Folks for the 3rd straight at-bats. Jackson Reiser now due up. Reiser struck out in his first plate appearance, but then in his second at-bat had that high-flying ball that there was confusion between pick third and Sheck, who came off the mound to try to grab it, called it, and allowed Reiser to turn what would have been an easy out into a double as he reached second base. Reiser had those 2 home runs yesterday. One he launched and brought in a teammate too, so the 2-shot RBI into left field, and the other one he had as he rocketed it into right field. This one he lines in the left field, and it's right, it's fair. Wow, Reiser. Oh, it's a foot race over to second. It's going to be close. Reiser is safe. Wow. What a turn of events. Falcons fans irate over that decision. And it looks, the second place umpire had a better angle on it than anyone else. So my guess is that the tag must have missed. It looked good from my angle, but Reiser must have just been able to get a hand on the bag. Wow, what a throw from Tyler Ball over in left field, chasing that one down. He had a lot of room to cover up, and Reiser able to make it safely to second. And was nearly tagged out by Evans. So 1 out in the inning. That one deflected off. You could see it landed right on our white line, on the third base line. And that one squeezes away. Sheck allows Reiser to make it over to third. In the top of the 5th, the Sentinels looking to take their first lead of the game. Very close call for Reiser, and it was a close call the last time he was there too, as on that fly ball I talked about that was misplayed. Reiser still had to dive into second to be safe, but those headfirst dives have worked out well for him so far. 1-0 the count for Gunn. He allows strike 1 through. Reiser at third. Gunn struck out in his first plate appearance. And then on the slow roller, he hit 2. Shank was retired in his last at-bat over to first. Count moves to 1-2 off the foul off from Gunn. One to the count, and the line drive grabbed out of the air by a diving Ty Evans on second. What a play by Evans. His spidey senses kicked in just in time, and he sold out to retire Gunn on the diving grab on the line drive. So Reiser on third, 2 outs now in the inning. Johansson and Sheck walking things over. Neither side with anyone warming up in the bullpen. Both pitchers have been really strong overall. Nelson walked the last time we saw him, but before that he struck out. Had 2 walks in yesterday's game too. But 2 flyouts. Yet to get a base hit in bracket play. Nelson on the season with those 25 runs driven in. And his 26th, if he could secure it here, would be the biggest of the season, as it would lift Mountain Ridge to a 3-2 lead heading into the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 the count after 2 straight ball deliveries by Shank. Mentioned no hits for Nelson, but he has been rewarded time and time again for his watchful eye. Hunting for his 4th walk of our tournament here. Good job sliding to trap that one by Max Johansson. 3-0 the count. Sheck's got some work to do to fight his way back into it. Edwards on deck with 2 outs if we make it to him. Saw a timeout for a moment, and so he ends up heading over to first. I thought it was the case, but just wanted to check and confirm. That was an intentional walk, so I guess they just felt like that was the best course of action. So runners on third and first now. The intentional walk, even though he was ahead in the count, 3-0, so more than likely was going to walk anyways, but either way just trying to be safe. Remington Edwards due up, struck out in his first plate appearance, then grounded out to first on the bunt. Edwards falls to 1-1 in the count after taking the first ball, but taking a hack and getting nothing there. Edwards looking to make a huge play for the 5th-seeded Sentinels here, as they're trying to send Skyridge into the loser's bracket and secure their spot in the Final Four and potentially set themselves up for a great opportunity for a state championship. This is a Sentinels program that didn't exist 5 years ago, but in their 4th year here, they have an opportunity to advance to their first ever semifinals. 2-1 the count. Low delivery the outside for ball 3. Shank in danger of loading the bases. We'll see the Falcons talk things over. There is some action going on in the bullpen now, so we'll see if Shank's time is going to be coming to an end, or if the Falcons are going to continue to roll with him. At the moment, it looks like they're going to stick with him. The count 3-1. Very much in danger of loading up the bases here. Edwards got to be careful with 2 outs, but if he could blast one into the outfield or just get a base hit, it would more than likely bring in the run that would break our 2-2 tie we've held since the top of the 4th. Next, looks like they will end up taking out Shank. So making a pitching change. We'll step away and let you know what that change is when we come back on KSL Sports Rewind. Murphy Dunn now on the mound, the freshman. Looking to make a huge defensive stand for his team. Shank shifts back to center field where he played yesterday. Dunn dialed in and delivers a strike. As we saw a huge toss from Edwards, who thought he was easily making it over to first, but either way, we'll have full count. Riser at third, Nelson at first via the intentional walk. Dunn up to full count again after that one's fouled off. Edwards trying to keep his team in it. Dunn looking to keep this one tied. This one launched into center field, hanging in the air, but collected. What a clutch performance we just witnessed in the limited pitches he threw by Murphy Dunn, the freshman for the Falcons. Gets it done, leaves 2 Sentinels stranded on base, and we are tied, still heading into the bottom of the 5th at UCCU ballpark. Skyridge offense has become a little stagnant here, but they're looking to change that in the bottom of the 5th. They've gone scoreless since the bottom of the 2nd and trying to turn that around. It's going to be Ty Evans, Gavin Bauer, and Mason Thompson all due up. Check stay may be over. Taj Henry still going on. Going strong. He's coming off that bottom of the 4th in which he had 3 straight strikeouts to take care of the Falcons. That pitch deflects off, I believe, one of the pads of Gunn at the catcher spot and flies high in the air. "2-0 the count. Another high delivery. Brings it to 3-0 now. Evans drove in a run the last time we saw him on a sacrifice fly into center field. He shows bunt, pulls back, and takes strike 2. Or excuse me, takes the first strike of the at-bat. So 3-1 the count. Evans fouls it off, so just like that, Henry able to fight his way back and now sits in a full count bout with Evans. Evans 14 runs brought in on the season, 5 doubles and a homer. Evans fouls another off, doing everything he can to protect home plate. The full count delivery from Henry. This one crushed into left field, hanging in the air, waiting, and eventually making the grab is Goodrich. Sounded great coming off the bat, but Evans retired for the 2nd time. Only this time he couldn't bring in a run because no one was on base. Gavin Bauer now due up. He drove in a run after he rocked one into right field. Last time Bauer was up, we had that crazy situation play out where Bauer launched the line drive into right field. Then he tried to stretch into a double. The throw came over. It ended up being a pickle, but no one for the Sentinels was over to cover second, so it allowed Pickle himself to be able to come off after he dove into third, and it took him a second to get up to then run home and score the 2nd run in the bottom of the 2nd for Skyridge. This ball smacked into center field, but flying over making a grab was Jackson Reiser. Henry and the defense of the Sentinels continues to be in sync. Mason Thompson now due up. Thompson in yesterday's action, 2 walks, and then was struck out on the drop 3 as he was retired. 2 outs now in the inning. Thompson struck out in his first plate appearance tonight. Currently heading the count 1-0. Count moves to 2-0 off the delivery there. Thompson on the season, 18 runs brought in, 8 doubles, 1 triple, and a homer. He takes strike 1. Henry 2 strikes away or just 1 out from sending this one into the 6th. Thompson fouls it off, evening the count at 2. Coach Ryan Roberts and Brock Whitney have both done a great job managing this game here early. The 2-2 delivery with 2 outs on deck. And it's an inside ball. Although if you ask the Sentinels, it should have been strike 3. Full count now. Thompson looking to get his 3rd walk of bracket play or his first hit. Thompson cracks it into center field, hangs in the air, and it's going to drop just short of Edwards out there. So Thompson facing full count, comes up for the Falcons with a base hit. Chase Youngberg now due up. Last time we saw Youngberg, he grounded out to second. We are going to see a pinch runner head over to first as Coach Roberts is going to send over who? This is not Tyler Ball, but their other pinch runner, Lincoln Zinn. So the sophomore sent over to first. Youngberg up to bat. He's got 8 runs brought in on the season. This could be the biggest one here if he was able to really get a hold of it. Fouls the first off. Youngberg, as I mentioned last time we saw him, retired at second on the grounder there. Fall behind in the count, 0-2 after chopping that one back into foul territory. To the count. Youngberg rocks a line drive that's batted for a moment and sliding it, saving. Although he fell off second, that is an out. What a turn of events for Skyridge, as they thought that they had a base hit, but instead the sliding pinch runner in Lincoln Zinn slid off of second unintentionally, and amidst the chaos, it allowed Miller to tag him out. So that will do it for the 5th. What a fun couple innings we've had. It's still tied at 2 apiece, and it's all going to come down to the 6th and 7th. Stay with us on KSL Sports Rewind. Murphy Dunn still situated on the pitcher's mound after coming up clutch, coming in when Remington Edwards was ahead in the count 3-1. He got back in the count to force full count and then forced Edwards to fly out to center field, leaving 2 Sentinels stranded on base. A slow roller, fielded cleanly, and the throw over to first in time. A great effort by Austin Ellis, who gave it everything he had but was unable to make it in time. Wasn't what he wanted to do originally, but it just came awkwardly off the bat and forced him into a dead sprint.
The first baseman, number 5, Dylan Singleton.
Dylan Singleton now due up, coming off back-to-back strikeouts. One of those runners left on base last time was Reiser. If it wasn't for the plays and the pitching by the freshman and Murphy Dunn, this could have been a 3-2 Sentinels advantage. 1 out now in the top of the 6th. 1-0 the count. Singleton looking for his first base hit of the game. And he did swing all the way through on that one, so 1-1 the count. He tried to check it really late, but he was pretty far gone by the time he had made that decision. Singleton determined to make a play for his squad. 2-1 count. Skyridge faithful, not a fan of the called ball there. Strike delivered on cue to even the count at 2. Singleton up now with Braxton Miller in the hole, and we return it back over to the top of the order if the Sentinels could reach that point. Singleton fouls it off for Skyridge. When they return to the bats, it'll be the top of the order for them. Dalton Young, Cruikshank, and Isaac Johansson all due up. Mountain Ridge trying to reach the top of their order and score would be the leading run. A swing and a miss on a 3rd strikeout of the day for Singleton. Dunn gets his first K since taking over on the mound.
The shortstop, number 6, Braxton Miller.
Braxton Miller now due up. Miller early on, arguably robbed of a home run earlier. In our opinion, advantage point from up here. But he was brought in nonetheless just a couple plays later off a hit. 2 outs now in the inning. Last time we saw him, he also helped score a run after he was retired on the job, 3 strikeout, but the throw ended up squeezing through the glove of Youngberg and brought in a run. And that run was Nelson at the time. Swinging and missing is Miller. 2-1 the count. How good has Murphy been? The freshman looking like a seasoned veteran on the mound here at UCCU ballpark. High delivery, walking his first batter, trying to bring it to full count here. And then they'll look for back-to-back strikeouts to get the Sentinels for the 6th. Or excuse me, get Skyridge out of the top of the 6th. We'll have full count coming up. Sentinels looking to keep their offensive momentum going. They may have not scored any runs in the 5th, but they at least had a couple hits. Haven't been able to do so here. Done. Gets it done for Skyridge. A clutch delivery has his teammates fired up. We're still tied at 2, bottom of the 6th. Up next, can the top-seeded Falcons break the tie? Stay with us to find out. Sentinels, the 5th seed. Skyridge, the top seed, still tied at 2. The bottom of the 6th about to begin. And it will be the top of the order. And Dalton Young for the Falcons, followed by Kruschek with Isaac Johansson in the hole. Falcons, if they could take the lead here, they would be 3 outs away from advancing to the semis. Young flew out to center field the last time we saw him, and before that struck out. He'd have a big hit in his 4th at-bat yesterday. He's trying to find a big hit here in his 3rd at-bat of the day. 2-0 the count early. Taj Henry's been sharp for the Sentinels all game long. But his pitch count only going up from here. Able to find the zone again. 2-1 the count. Another delivery in the zone, count evened at 2. Do see some bodies starting to get warm for the Sentinels. Heading over to the bullpen. And going down swinging is Dalton Young for the 2nd time today. 3 straight strike deliveries by Henry after back-to-back balls.
The left fielder, number 6.
Kruschek now due up. The pitcher who started the day, now the center fielder. Rocketed one in the right field in his first plate appearance. And his 2nd grounded out to the pitcher. 1 out in the inning. Fouls this one down the first base line. Just ends up in foul territory, which is a good thing for Skyridge. Would have been another easy out. Won the count for Sheck. Johansson in the hole. He struck out in his 2 previous plate appearances. He'll look to turn around his luck. The loser of this one goes on to play Bingham at 1:30. The winner awaits the winner of the Bingham game and the loser in this one at 7 o'clock. High delivery for ball 1. Shank trying to turn things around. Takes ball 2. Sentinels fans not pleased with that decision to call that a ball. 2-1 the count. Shank takes ball 3. it takes is one run, and Shank looking to reach base. One out, the 3-1 count. And we'll have strike 2, so full count. Shank fouls it off to stay alive. Nearly took off the heads of a few Sentinels in the dugout. That foul off. Shank has come up big for the Falcons time and time again, trying to do so. The full count delivery. He goes down swinging. Big time play made by Henry to retire the original starting pitcher and now center fielder, Drew Shank. Back-to-back Ks for Henry. He's originally in danger of walking both those batters, but fought his way back in the count both time. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 6th. Isaac Johansson, we mentioned strikeouts. 2 of his strikeouts on the day have come from retiring Johansson earlier. High delivery for ball 1. Eight strikeouts on the day for Henry, looking for number 9 here. He's currently behind in the count, 2-0, but that hasn't deterred him from finding a way to get back in the count at any other point yet. We see a meeting on the mound take place as the Sentinels talk about how they want to play this one. 2-0 the count. Been up here for over 12 hours now. What a way to end the day. In our first game, Riverton took down Westlake 4-3. And we saw Bingham beat Pleasant Grove 10-3. And American Fork bested Syracuse 9-3. And this one on pace to be our lowest scoring battle of the day. Still knotted at 2 in the bottom of the 6th. 2 outs in the inning. Johansson ahead in the count, 2-0. Henry coming off back-to-back strikeouts. Just off on the delivery for ball 3. Johansson could make it safely to base. Tyler Ball, one of the most prolific hitters in the state, will be due up next. Call strike 1 there. 3-1 the count. Johansson's headed over to first via the walk. That'll bring up Ball. We had a booming shot in the left field earlier in this game. Last time we saw him, he struck out. Ball having an incredible season. 10 home runs, the 4 triples, 7 doubles, 38 runs brought in, on top of being 7-0 when getting the start on the mound. Looking to give Skyridge an opportunity at victory here. He asked Coach Roberts which of his players he wants in the batter's box in this situation. He very well may say Ball. 1-0 the count. Henry's been potent today, trying to retire Ball for the 2nd straight at-bat. Ball blasted straight up in the air. Looks like it's just going to end up in foul territory. So the count to 1-1. Ball, a 3-year starter for the Falcons. Signed to play baseball at BYU earlier this season. So the Cougar, looking to get it done in his home state, fouls another off. 1-2 the count. He's going to be playing a lot of games down in this Orem, Provo area. Or I should say, just not too far from here in Provo. 1-2 the count, 2 outs. Tyler Ball. Ball goes 3 strikeouts in 4 batters faced in the bottom of the 6th. We remain tied at 2, entering the 7th. Stay with us for the exciting conclusion on KSL Sports Rewind. We are set for some 7th inning action here at UCCU Ballpark. It may be 11:33, but I'm not tired and no one else is here with so much at stake. An opportunity to reach the semis and then basically set up for a good path to potentially reach the state championship game in the 6A classification. What a performance from Henry. 9 strikeouts overall. He's had 6 of them that have come late in this game in the last couple innings. Skyridge held scoreless for the last 4 innings. Mountain Ridge looking to break the tie. Austin Goodrich due up. Dunn, the freshman, continues to be sharp himself on the mound. Last time we saw him, he had back-to-back strikeouts, retiring Singleton and Miller in this one. Goodrich, 2 walks. And then grounded out to second the last time we saw him. Count now 0-2. Dunn extremely confident, or pitching with confidence currently. Nearly ended up hitting Goodrich that time, but it's good for a ball, so 1-2. Coach Roberts and Whitney once again have done a great job managing this game. But one's got to give him the 7th, or else for the 2nd consecutive game, Skyridge could be playing in extra innings. 2-2 the count. A high delivery for ball 3. It was consecutive strikes delivered by Dunn, but since 3 balls. Goodrich looking to reach base for the 3rd time today. And he's done it. Goodrich with another walk. So the leading run to first with no outs in the inning. Stockton Folks now due up. Flew out to right field the last time we saw him. Before that, grounded out to short, but brought in a run in his very first at-bat. Grounded out to first. It's fouled off. So 0-1 the count. So they throw it over. And I would like to make a correction. I have an outdated roster, so I've been calling the pitcher on the mound currently the wrong name. It's actually Isaac Johansson who stepped in for Skyridge and been sharp here early. The bunt down the first base line just ends up in foul territory. 0-2 the count. So once again, Johansson getting it done. To the count in the top of the 7th. Runner on first as Folk resets. Folks with no outs in the inning. This one crushed into right field, and it's going to land safely deep in right field, and they're going to bring him home. So the leading run will score on the triple for Folks as he rocks Joe Hansen. First triple we've seen today, and it brings in a huge RBI to give the Sentinels the 3-2 lead. I'll bring up Jackson Reiser, who's no stranger to big hits. Joe Hansen delivers the ball. Joe Hansen came in yesterday and helped close things out after the lengthy bout for ball. Once again, apologize for the mispronunciation. 2-0 the count. The grounder, fielded cleanly. And they'll get it over to first for the first out of the inning as Reiser is retired. Play made by the shortstop. Was Joe Hansen earlier, but he shifted to take over. Easton Gunn now due up. This one ripped high into foul territory. Ends up deflecting off an old shed out there in right field. So 0-1 the count. Ball ripped into right field, giving chase, and it's going to end up going over the head. It deflects off the wall, and it's bringing in more runs for the Sentinels. Easton Gunn with a gash into right field. It's a 4-2 advantage now for Mountain Ridge. So Isaac Joe Hansen trying to regain his form after giving up 2 runs now in the top of the 4th. The hitting department equal, 6 and 6 for both sides. They'll bring a pinch runner on to second.
Second baseman, number 1, Luke Nelson.
Nelson due up now. A strikeout and a walk so far today. Has also had the intentional walk early on after he's had 3-0 in the count. Still just 1 out in the inning. The chopper fielded cleanly. And the throw over to first gets there in time for the out. This time it's the shortstop and Schenk who makes the grab. So Schenk, after exiting the mound, actually shifted over to short instead of in the outfield. Although I could check, because as I said once, my roster a little outdated, as I discovered recently. So 2 outs now in the inning. Amidst the chaos, though, pinch runner able to make it over to third. To the count. Nelson has it fielded off the ground. It's bobbled for a moment, and that's going to score another run. He's coming home for Mountain Ridge. It's Grayson Riding. pinch runner. So Nelson reaches base safely, and it is now a 5-2 advantage. 3 runs scored, the most by any team so far in any inning in this game. It's in the top of the 7th. 0-1 the count. Count goes to 1-1 off the ball delivery. Edwards due up again. Edwards flew out to center field. The last time we saw him before that was retired on a bunt to first and struck out in his first plate appearance. Johansson looking to get his team out of the inning here. 2-1 the count. Two-1 the count. 3-1 the count. Johansson trying to get the Falcons out of the inning and back at the bats with this delivery. This one rocketed into left field, but directly to the left fielder in Tyler Ball. So after 3 runs surrendered, the Falcons finally get out of it. The top seed in the tournament, in danger of suffering their first loss in bracket play when we return for the bottom of the 7th on KSL Sports Rewind. Welcome back into UCCU Ballpark for the bottom of the 7th. It's currently a 5-2 advantage for the 5th-seeded Mountain Ridge Sentinels, who are looking to join the 7th-seeded American Fork Cavemen in the semifinals. The winner of this one plays the winner of the game between Bingham and the loser of this contest at 7 o'clock tomorrow. And that game against Bingham for the loser due up at 1:30. Taj Henry looking to close this one out. Ground ball fielded cleanly. It's a long throw over to first, and it's high on the delivery. So Pickle heads over to second. Pickle's going to try to turn into a triple and dive in safely to third. Pickle with the prime time base running. It was a hard hit grounder, and it was Stockton Folks on third to try to give it everything he got. He just threw it slightly too high on the delivery. You see pitchers warming up for American Fork, but Henry trying to close it out for his squad. He's been so strong for so long. We'll see a meeting take place on the mound, and with the way everyone's leaving the dugout, looks like this will be it for Henry. What a performance for him overall on the game. But they are going to make the swap in an attempt to close out the victory. Henry's yet to leave the mound, so we'll stay here for a moment just to make sure. And that will do it for Henry. But he is going to make a shift. They'll be playing a new position now in the infield. Or actually, I believe they still left Henry out there. So even though everyone from the dugout kind of came out, they ended up still sticking with Henry. So Henry stays in it. Runner on third. The difference is 3 runs. Evans due up now after Pickle was able to turn that one into a triple. We've seen just 1 error apiece on each side. 0-1 the count. Henry dialed it again. They try to check Pickle over on third. This one smashed into center field, and it takes a bounce before it reaches riser, so a run scores as Evans drives in Pickle. And now we'll do it for Henry more than likely. as he's going to exit. It was a strong performance, but as he surrenders his third run, American Fork decides to make a change. We step away on KSL Sports Rewind to see if Skyridge can complete the comeback. They still trail by 2 runs. Jackson Sutton now due up. The junior, 5'10", 150, needs 3 outs to close it out for the Sentinels. 1 runner on base. He's due to face up Bauer, Thompson, and Youngberg at the back of the order. He starts it off right with a strike. 0-1 the count. Bauer outside on the delivery there, or excuse me, Bauer takes the pitch wisely, the ball. As Sutton trying to shore things up for the Sentinels defense. The tying run at home plate. Skyridge had a walk-off victory in the bottom of the 8th. They would need 3 runs to walk off and at least 2 to force extra innings as we nearly approach 12 o'clock. 2-1 the difference in the count. Make it 3-1 off the ball delivery. Coach Whitney steps out to say something. Once again, this program didn't even exist 5 years ago. And now on the cusp of reaching the semifinals. Skyridge, the top seed, trying to do the same. 3-1 the count. Sutton delivers another ball, so 2 base runners on now. As Bauer heads to first with Evans on his way to second. Now bring up Mason Thompson. No outs in the inning. Coach Roberts calls his team over, or excuse me, just calls Thompson over to talk things over with his designated hitter. Reached base the last time we saw him after rocketing 1 in the right field, and before that struck out. Thompson on the season, 1 home run. He's brought in 18. If he could bring in 2 here, he would tie the game. Still no outs in the inning. Sutton trying to close this one out. He'll foul the first off. Thompson resets. Strike 2 just off the mark that time. The count at 1-1. It's nearly midnight. And both these teams trying to continue their season. They'll both be in action tomorrow, and it may take till after 12 o'clock to wrap this one up. 1-1 the count. Another strike delivery. 1-2 the difference. Sutton trying to close it out for Mountain Ridge. On the season, not credited with a win or a loss, but a chance for his first strikeout here. And it won't come on the outside delivery. Instead, it'll be an even count at 2-2. Fouled off. Falcons faithful and Sentinels alike, both on the edge of their seats, watching the conclusion of this game play out. The count will remain at 2-2. Thompson awaiting the delivery from Sutton. Thompson tees it off deep into center field, going back and making the grab. Deep out there is Reiser. In the ensuing chaos, Evans able to advance to third after tagging up on second. Bauer still residing on first. So Thompson may have been retired for the first out of the inning, but still able to contribute as he could, as he puts what would be the fourth run of the game for Skyridge, even in the stronger scoring position now, over at third. Bauer still at first, the tying run. And Chase Youngberg due up. Youngberg did get a base hit the last time we saw him, but the pinch run for Skyridge overslid on second to end the previous inning, or the previous at-bat that Youngberg was involved in. And before that, grounded out to second on a hopper. Sutton 2 outs away from sending the Sentinels into the semis. Skyridge 2 runs away from tying it up, and 3 from sending themselves soaring into the semis. First delivery is on the money by Sutton for strike number 1. Youngberg on the season, 8 runs brought in, no home runs on the season. This would be a heck of a time for one. He watches strike 2 pass by. Sutton ahead in the count. And there was a late time called by Youngberg. That pitch not counting. Just at the last second he called for it. And that delivery squeezes past, and it's going to bring in a run for Skyridge. They now trail by just 1. Sutton lost control of it at a poor time. This allows Evans to come home. So the tying run now on second. And Bauer with 2 outs and the count at 1-2. Youngberg. That's another outside pitch pass to even the count at 2-2. Youngberg yet to reach base. This one lifted into left field, and it'll drop, and it's going to send the tying run home. It's a foot race over, and they'll win it. And not only that, but there's no one over by the ball, so it's going to allow Youngberg to make it to third, and that ball squeezes through. They're going to hold Youngberg up at third after nearly sending him home. It would have been a walk-off victory, but we have a tie game now with just 1 out. Youngberg with the shot in the left field completely changes the complexion of this one as it brings in a run, and now he's over on third. Sutton talking things over. An American Fork in danger, American Fork obviously sitting in the opposite bracket in the semifinals, but Mountain Ridge currently trying to punch their ticket in the semis. Skyridge fans on their feet. Dalton Young due up. It hasn't been Young's day. 2 strikeouts and he flew out to center field, but he's a prolific hitter on the season. Overall, Young, 18 runs brought in, 3 home runs, 3 triples, and a double. Anything into the outfield should win it for Skyridge. The top-seeded team in our tournament has come to life in the bottom of the 7th, scoring 3 runs. We are tied at 5. The first ball delivered by Sutton. The ground ball breaks through. A walk-off victory for the Skyridge Falcons. They come back bring in Youngberg. And the Falcons have done it. They capture the 6-5 victory. The top seed in our tournament is moving on to the semis as they send the Sentinels into the losers bracket where they will play Bingham at 1:30 tomorrow. What a performance by both teams. Arguably the best game we've had through 8 in bracket play so far here at UCCU Ballpark. A strong pissing by Krushek early on. Isaac Johansson getting it done too on the mound. Dalton Young bringing in the winning run. Youngberg, Thompson, Bauer, Evans, and Pickle all contributing in that final frame to seal the deal for Skyridge and send them into the semis as they knock off the Sentinels and send them into the losers bracket. So your schedule for tomorrow is officially at 11 o'clock. Syracuse will take on Riverton. The winner of that will go on to play American Fork at 4:30 tomorrow. Then we will have the Sentinels taking on the Miners at 1:30. So once again, the Bingham Miners taking on the Mountain Ridge Sentinels. And then in our nightcap at 7 o'clock, Skyridge awaits the winner of that one at 7. The Falcons have done it. They're moving on. The top seed in the tournament is in the semis. That's going to do it from us up here inside the booth. For Vince Francis and all the hardworking men and women here at UCCU Ballpark, I'm JT Wisterseal. We thank you for tuning in all day long to KSL Sport Rewind's coverage of the 2023 6A Baseball State Championships, and we'll see you tomorrow.